It's just so cute. I feel like I don't remember if it was the last time we also had a hair dilemma or it was the time before that, but our hair, both of us. I was flipping a lot before you got on because I showered today and it's all like, it's all
Mm.
flooshy. I feel very Farrah Fawcett when I do my hair like this and it's weird. So, how was your Christmas, Mandee?
I love your hair. And I'm like, for those of you who've been following Crystal and I for a while, Crystal had very short hair. And now it's like all grown out and it always looks so styled and like awesome.
So I'm gonna have to post because as I was stating, like I was going bald. That's
Mm.
actually why I cut my hair to begin with because it was thinning out really bad up here. Like you could actually see bald spots, and then on the side of my head, my hair, I was going bald. Um, and so I decided to look into a lot of different stuff, and there's a couple different oils that I found really worked for hair growth. And also on top of that, I also use aloe water once a week. And it has just went kapoof when it comes to, hi, Abby and Glenda. Hello, ladies. So that's what I've done. And I think that's actually helped a lot.
That's amazing. And there's a lot of people out there who struggle with that. And I actually have a client that I'm going to see this week that I'm going to pass
Oh,
those messages along to. What'd you say?
so
Aloe? What?
I will share because I have them in different bottles. So I will share the
Hey,
specific
sisters.
bottles. I will share actually on my page, and then I'll also send you a text of what it is that I use, so you can gift that to her, that knowledge, because they both have worked so well. Once a week, I just let it sit and I rub it into my scalp, and I make sure it's like in the crown part, and I no longer have bald spots, and it's you like you said, you've seen how fast it's grown. And it's funny, even my hairstylist, she's like, what the heck have you done? I don't understand why it's growing so much. I don't get this. And I'm like, I don't know either. It's the universe, I guess.
Well,
Hi,
you've
Stacy.
also changed like the chemistry in your body a lot. You've
Yeah.
changed like your actions and reactions and all of that. There's been a lot. So
Oh.
maybe the things that were causing the balding are over now. Have we looked that
So
up in Louise's book? I'll look that up while we chat about it.
I was gonna say, as you're looking, I'm getting up right now because I also want to add something to this. So I'm gonna have to walk out of camera. I hope you guys
Oh,
can
that's
hear
okay.
me.
Hello, welcome. Hi, Stacy. Hi, Sophia. Hi, Trisha, Jennifer, Glenda, Abby. What's up? So excited you guys are here. If you're just tuning in, we were commenting on how fast Crystal's hair grew back then. And she was really being polite and sharing with us about how she was experiencing some baldness and made some big changes in order to heal that. And then we decided to also see if we could look it up in Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life, because we always look things up in there.
Oh, there's a new book to share tonight. I have a new book to
God.
share because it's like another one. It's really cool. So, yes, Louise, the goddess of everything we need to know.
It's in here.
Is it?
Baldness, fear, tension, trying to control everything, not trusting the process of life. I am
Boom.
safe.
See?
I love and approve of myself, and I trust life. Who
This
trusts
is what's
life
happened.
now?
This is what's happened over the past year. Y'all have been on the journey. Crystal's talked about the crazy. It's not so crazy now. So I'm okay. And it's funny because, we just had Christmas. I hope everybody who's watching had a very Merry Christmas.
Happy, Merry,
hi,
Merry,
Sophie. or happy holidays, whatever it is, because I know some people don't really celebrate Christmas, which is completely fine. So whatever you celebrate, happy whatever that is. But it's also like, the most exciting spot. Like, people talk about new year, new you, resolutions, blah blah blah. I don't really do resolutions because 9 times out of 10 it's like a diet. And most people don't stick to resolutions. And so what I do is I try to love myself in different ways every single year. And so my calling is
that I left my tea on, so I'm going to go grab it real quick. Sorry for interrupting.
You go right ahead. Nope, you're fine.
For me to go and run and grab that. Yes.
You grab your tea. I got mine. So as Mandee is grabbing her tea, I'm going to say hello, Sophia, and also hello, Cece. It's so wonderful to see all of you guys. So my New Year's resolutions, really every single year, are more in manifestations and self-growth. And so this year has been more of a catalyst of changing things over to a more natural approach. And I think that has to do more with me being diagnosed with all of the autoimmune diseases that I have, because it's really easy to get into the mindset where you want to like take drugs or pharmaceuticals or pop Tylenol. I can't take Advil because it has adverse reactions with me. So it's really difficult for me to actually take stuff. And I personally want to get to a place of health within myself that is completely free from any and all pharmaceuticals going forward. And so that's kind of where I'm going with this. But what I was going to say is that usually in between Christmas and New Year, it's like this new exciting time where sometimes we're a little confused because we feel the transformation taking place in the energy around us. But we also get a little bit like, nervous sometimes because we don't really know what we want to change or how we want to change it or how to word the changes. And so I've just in the past, tried to focus more on self-growth. And this next coming year, 2022, Mandee, you missed it, is going to be getting off all pharmaceuticals. And all remedies are going to be plant-based. And so I cannot grow yet. Anybody who knows me knows that I was like, I have my tea too. I'm drinking oolong today. But it's like one of my favorites other than breakfast tea because they're just like, they're hearty. But I can't grow in my own space because the energy is toxic. The ground is toxic. It's just not a good space to grow things for body health. And so what I did is I found a great supplier that has organic sourced stuff. And I have we talked about it last time. I have my stinging nettles that I'm going to start making into my tincture. And I also have this beautiful blend that I have looked into for pain. And I'm so excited to make this tincture because it's supposed to help knock out, because I've struggled with migraines and stuff like that. And it's supposed to be 100% reactive to pain. And it is catnip, echinacea, and feverfew. And so I'm so excited to start these so I can get off Tylenol completely. I just don't want that because I feel like my liver needs to be cleansed. I feel like my liver
and that catnip are gonna do that. It's amazing. You'll see. You'll start drinking it and be like, I cannot get enough of this. You're gonna be like, oh my goodness. Especially if you're someone like me who suffers with chronic pain and fibromyalgia and all these different things. And then every now and then, still I will every now and then take in a leave, but it is so rare. And I was on round the clock ibuprofen and Tylenol and muscle relaxers and Vicodin and all those things. And
for years, man. For years. It's insane because I have to say I feel like the Vicodin and the Norco, because there was a transition. First it was Darvocet, then it was Vicodin, then it was Norco because I was on them for a period of time. I feel like it messed more with my brain than anything else, like the receptors and how you see, feel, and experience certain things. And so that was one of those reasons why I wanted to get off from that. Angels guided me. I never had weird withdrawal symptoms. Thank Jesus. They never gave that to me. They said, throw them away. The very first time I meditated, this face came upon me and scared the crap out of me. They go, throw them in the trash. And I got up and I threw everything in the trash. And my husband was like, what are you doing? Because he also had an addiction problem. And he's like, what are you doing? And I was like, they said to throw them away. I'm throwing them away. And he was like, you can't do that. And I was like, watch me. So
that was very intense and spontaneous awakening.
So after that, it was more the dependence on Advil and Tylenol. And now I can't take Advil because it makes me sick. Yeah. I physically get ill. And so at this point, it's I think they've over the years slowly started taking me off things. And I think I'm finally at a place where I love myself enough to start making those positive changes and finally start putting those actions into my life. And I see it differently today than what I would have 10 years ago. And so now I'm like, okay, I believe in this a little bit more. This is what God has created for us to take. This is not bad. And so I would rather put my faith into some of those natural things and see how that works over the next year.
Amen. Aho. And so it is to that.
Boom.
I'll say it over and over again. No one can make this shit up for you. This is we are our own amazing sovereign beings. And what happens is when you're on the path to healing or enlightenment or spiritual awakening, no one can make up your experiences for you. No one can feel what you can feel. No one can feel what it feels like to drink that nettle tea and see how it calms down your body. No one knows what it's like to have a spirit appear and to tell you, hey, knock that off. Okay. No one can see the signs for you. So you're truly in alignment when things just start happening for you. And if they're not yet, be really patient with it. I'm excited about I have some things I want to say about the New Year stuff too at some point also.
I feel like anything we need to say, because I once again, I think that people get really antsy, like Sophia says. She was like, this is where I get antsy about my vibe and starting purging all things, home,
Yes.
office, purse, everything. Yes.
Which is divine.
And it's so funny because it's almost like I said, New Year's resolutions don't really, I don't feel like it should be something like that. I feel like it should be more of a look inward and what do you want to feel? How do you want to feel going forward in your life? It's not a physicality. The physical will come with the feelings that you have inside. The physical will start to show in your life after that. But you got to get there inside first. And so how do you want to feel going forward? You know, is this the year that you want a little bit more peace in your life? What does that peace look like to you? What does that represent for you? What does that mean to you? What are those words that represent that peace in you going forward? And that's kind of how I've flipped it over the years and started looking at it differently.
I love that. And that's just what it is for me. And that's what I want to say about it. I thank you for sharing that with us, Sophia, because the thing is, especially if you're an intuitive soul, if you're an empath, if you're an old soul, if you're a witchy soul, if you're someone who honors the earth, right now it's the beginning of winter. So it's just, it gets a little mixed that it's the beginning of winter when things are dark and dying off and like all the dead ends are supposed to go. So that's why I honor you wanting to purge and clean things out, because that's really natural. Like when winter hits, it's like we want to get a little bit more minimal. We want to see exactly what we need in order to nourish ourselves and to foster growth and healing. And like, it's super normal to want to do that. And at the same time, sometimes with like our Gregorian New Year here starting 1 week into winter season, you know, this is when, like, think about it. And then the springtime is when we have a seed. So right now we have a seed and we're figuring out what it is we want to, what it needs in order to like grow or to clear that out. So we're clearing out the land right now. Things are dying off. Then we're going to plant our seed in the spring and like, we're going to give it all the nutrients that it needs. Right now during the winter, we plan those nutrients that it needs. And we work with nature as humans. That's why in the summertime, we're like, running around like now we're like, oh my God, like this is terrible. And people are like, I don't know, I'm so tired. And we're like, oh, because it's dark at 4:30 and our bodies are naturally supposed to be getting tired. And it's okay to honor that. And at the same time, this is a sacred time where we get to figure out, like, I like to use the energy of the new year too, because there's a lot of support out there. There's a lot of people who are interested in making changes and starting new things. And I always just encourage people to see what is dying off and then tend to yourself and start small. Like, just stick to one thing. Like for Crystal, she's been weaning her way into releasing all the pharmaceuticals. Now she's going to honor to sticking to that one thing. It might be saying something like, I am peace, or I am safe for a whole year. It might be drinking some celery juice. It might be pulling yourself hard, or saying you're going to meditate or go for a walk or work out, whatever it is. But I just always encourage everyone to do it from a place of self-love and do it from a place of pleasure and not pressure. Do it from a place where you actually want to do it because it's going to serve you.
Exactly. I love that. I think that's kind of what I meant. See, Mandee knows my words better than I do sometimes, because I think that's the pressure that we all feel in the beginning of the year is to make some big goal. Well, what if we don't want to make a goal? Like, what if we're just okay being us right now because we know that there's too much happening in our lives and we're not ready for that change? We shouldn't feel pressured to make promises to ourselves that we're going to go back on and hate ourselves for later either, because that's not going to serve us a purpose going forward. And if it's not your time right now in the year to start looking at some of those things, well, it might be 6 months from now, and that'll be okay too. So just give yourself love for whatever that means going forward in the future. And Natasha, this is funny because somebody else actually just told me, I think yesterday or the day before, because I posted, I think on my personal page about me getting an arrow garden, and she was like, you should look into arrow gardens because they're really, really good. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to do that. So that's 2 people in less than a week who has told me to look into an arrow garden, and I'm sold. So just know, after this, I'm Googling arrow gardens and seeing what it is, because I really just want to, I feel like I want to start connecting with certain herbs. And it's funny because they've taken away my ability to drink caffeine completely in the form of like coffee and pop. So I still get my daily Coke, but at the same time, I can't drink it. Like, it's too sweet for me. It tastes it's like sugar. I don't know. It's syrupy and it's thick and it's gross. Coffee makes me sick, and it does the exact opposite. So I can drink tea because it's more of an even caffeine, I guess, or less. I don't know how to put it, but coffee just makes me so jittery and it makes me feel sick and it gives me headaches. So I've also transitioned off from that because they're just like, no more. We're not doing it anymore, Crystal. Put it down. Put it down. I tried drinking it yesterday and they were like, no coffee. We said no. I'm like, okay. So I feel like they're really talking about
it may not be forever. It might just be right now what your vessel needs, and it's okay to just honor it and see what's up.
So, and we also have Stacy Duke. I have been off my anxiety meds for about 2 months now, and the last 2 weeks, everything for me has been really hard. I'm so sorry that you're struggling with that. Ben also is trying to detox off from his gabapentin that he has been on for years.
That's hard.
Hopefully he'll show his story or share his story with his medication struggles over the past 20 years of his life. And she said that she needs something to help her with this. Stacy, if you want like, and one, before I say this, I'm going to say, first off, I'm not like a medical person, so I can't give you medical advice. However, I can say that what has helped me is a more natural approach to certain things. And I am going to say this because this is going to open a book, but just please know and understand, if it's not for you, it's not for you. It's fine. Okay. I literally just like reached out to Mandee talking about anxiety and medical marijuana, because medical marijuana has like kind of helped to get me into a state of actually being able to cope with life in different ways, specifically because of the fibromyalgia, the Crohn's, and the different autoimmune diseases that I've had. But I also have always struggled with a lot of anxiety, social anxiety, constant like ADHD I'll say that. Okay. It's constant. And sometimes it's really hard for me to ground myself. And because of all of the other things that have been taking place in my life, there's been a lot. And I asked Mandee, because Mandee is a big advocate of, once again, those beautiful herbal medicines that are natural. And so she also has had to detox off from stuff too. Am I saying medical marijuana for you? Not necessarily. I am saying that you can Google different ways that are more of a natural approach to anxiety meds if you want to get off from those more pharmaceutical type ways. My son takes a natural, I can't remember what it is. It's in a tin, but he takes natural anxiety meds too. So it's really to each their own, but I would kind of look into that for you if that's something that you want to kind of go down and see about that. Big advocate for meditation, for stress relief. I am. You got to meditate if you want some stress relief, because that's really calling yourself home for a minute and refocusing, regrounding. You really got to stay grounded. And I am going to say this is Stacy. So I'm just, the peoples are like doing this with my feelers. You're a very highly intuitive person. And I feel like right now you're first off, we all have these little energy feelers that stick off us. Okay. So any person that we come into contact with, they create little channels for us to constantly have that energy source back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You have a lot of people that you need to cut that energy source off from. And so essentially they're making me feel like over time, there's been an influx of your energy being felt out by other people. And so it's almost like a static electricity, which will raise some of that anxiety in you. And they're making me feel like that's kind of some of the stuff that they're wanting you to do, is kind of shut that off, cut some of those cords, and really walk into this new space that you're trying to claim for yourself with peace. Because I don't necessarily feel like everybody around you holds that same internal peace the way that you do in your structure of life, is how I'll say that. So they're just making me feel like that's kind of where they're going with that. But secondary to, you really do have anxiety, and I'm a person that understands anxiety. Mandee, please just correct me if I'm wrong and tell me how you feel about this too.
Oh, I have lots of there, and I've got messages for you, Stacy.
I was like, man, I feel personally like Pat Longo is the bomb when it comes to understanding this, because the gifts beneath your anxiety. There is a book, The Gifts Beneath Your Anxiety. Mental illness and spiritual gifts go hand in hand, because they mimic certain things, especially when you're picking up on different things around you. That can look a lot like mental illness in a lot of different forms. And so how many of us are really mentally ill, which is nothing wrong with that. If we need medication to help us through life, there's nothing wrong with that. And how many of us actually have gifts that are kind of like unrealized and unnoticed and unused, that are causing us to feel like a shaken bottle of Coke every single day that's about to blow our lids. We have to start changing how we see these things in order to open the door to understand things in a different perspective. But do what's right for you, just like Mandee said, and follow your gut on what feels natural to you, and kind of look into some of those things for yourself.
Yes. So much. Sending you so much love, Stacy. This is a time where we are transitioning. There's a lot happening energetically in the astrals. We're going into Venus retrograde. It's making us really rethink and recalibrate in our relationship space. We just finished up eclipse season. And when we release, the thing is, the anxiety is typically being caused by something. Every single feeling that we have in our body is energy in motion. These energies, these emotions are caused by our thoughts, and a thought can be changed. Sometimes anxiety comes up from old things, PTSD, complex PTSD, traumas and dramas, different beliefs that are running on a subconscious level, and we don't even know what's happening or why. I have several tools that I'd love to use for anxiety. As Crystal said, I do. I'm a fan of medical marijuana. It has helped me a ton. I prefer, say, cannabis. If you are interested in that, I love Holly Joy McCabe, the spiritual fit chick. She has her own CBD line. That's absolutely incredible. That's helped a lot. But there's also a lot of other tools that I love to use as well. So that is something, if it feels in alignment for you, give it a whirl. You never know. For me, that helped me work on my anxiety a ton and release all of the harder prescriptions I was on, like Crystal was saying. However, sometimes the anxiety comes in just out of nowhere in different waves. And what it is often, it's this feeling of overwhelm. Whenever we're in any state of overwhelm, we can't receive. The universe, the angels, they look down on us. They're like, oh no, my being, Crystal, I love you. I want to give you that time to meditate. I want to give you the money to pay your bills. I want to give you that time with your friend. I want to give you the relief from the pain you're feeling. But if you're overwhelmed right now, your energy is telling me you can't be open to receiving. Your energy is overwhelmed and that's static and saying no. Now, overwhelm can be anything that makes us feel icky or is lower vibrational. Grief, shame, anxiety, fear, guilt, jealousy, any of that stuff. Grief is a harder one because grief is very human. Grief is like tons and tons of love that you want and need to pour out, but you can't. And it's a really heavy, wild feeling that we go through here in Earth. And it's something that is a wave. However, even with grief, like some of these tools can help you. So if you identify that you're in anxiety, you're in overwhelm, and you're needing some help, one of my favorite tools is you can grab each finger for 30 seconds or more. So every single acupuncture point in our body is lined up with our fingers, and there are points in that. And what that will do is it will start to recirculate your energy. If you just take some breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth, if you can add in an affirmation, if you can calm down enough to say, I am peace, that helps a ton. And just sit there and breathe, I am peace. And after about 3 to 5 minutes, you want to hold each finger for 30 seconds or more and give it like a little squeeze to the point where, you feel its heartbeat a little bit, but not cut off its circulation. And then once that feels kind of calm, on to the next one. And after 5 minutes, you will be feeling a lot better. I guarantee it. My other one, I have several, but another one is, what you can do is you can take a few deep breaths and you can say, stop out, and then go over 10 things you're grateful for. What happens is, as we were talking about, all of that overwhelm and those negative feelings, they kind of keep us down. Gratitude is one of the highest vibrational feelings that we can feel. So if we go and we focus on 10 things that we're grateful for, what'll happen is it'll neurologically distract us from whatever was causing the anxiety, whether that was something present in the forefront that we're currently worrying about, whether that's something subconsciously coming up and we have no idea what's causing it. Going over the gratitudes helps us to neurologically shift. And then it helps our thoughts, those thoughts, to start to change, to lift our vibration, to build us back up a little bit. So all of a sudden, and I always use this, my favorite example, I use it all the time. You're driving down the road and you're late for work and you're like really pissed off and you're like, all right, I'll go over my 10 things I'm grateful for because I don't want to feel pissed off anymore and get to the office. So you're like, I'm really great these brakes work, and you slam on the brakes and you're like, all right, I'm really grateful I have this car because I have a car. I'm really grateful
because I can get to work.
Yeah. And then you look over at the bus stop and you're like, oh, well, at least, I'm not waiting at the bus stop in the rain. You're like, my dog did this thing this morning and I really like this dog. And that soup I had last night was pretty good. And all of a sudden you get down to 10 and you're like, okay, wow. All right. Things are moving and shifting. And it's just so important to soothe yourself and be patient with yourself and just say, hey, anxiety, I see you. It's okay. You're safe right now. You're safe in this present moment. It's safe to come up. Do you have anything to tell me? A lot of times our anxiety gets worse because we try to ignore it. We try to banish it away. We're like, I have anxiety. No. And then we don't just, hi, what's up?
Yep.
So I just invite in a conversation and I send so much love. And then one other book recommendation is Dodging Energy Vampires by Dr. Christiane Northrup, An Empath's Guide to Surviving Something. It's awesome. It helps you a ton, especially if you have energy vampires in your life. And every single one of us can be an energy vampire too. I like to like open that conversation and not let people know like anybody can be an energy vampire. An energy vampire is when you're in your own energetic funnel and you're usually milling over your traumas and your dramas and your woe is me and all of this is happening to me and I can't believe this. And all of us have been through some shit and we've earned those moments. However, what happens is when we refuse to change or grow or help ourselves a little bit, we become a little bit of our own vortex and it's hard to like get out of that. And then that's when we become bitter and nasty and mean. And a lot of times you'll come across these people, sometimes in your own family, sometimes you've been that person. And then sometimes it just happens in the workplace or different places. And you can learn amazing like boundaries in order to help you against that. And my favorite boundary, if you guys are interested, is just asking the angels to surround you in white and blue light and protect you. It's so simple. You can do it in your heart, in your mind, out loud. I say, Archangel Michael, thank you for surrounding me in white and blue light and protecting me. And you feel it as soon as it comes in. And then real quick, that was from Stacy about the anxiety. I just want to pull Stacy a card. Too.
She also, while you were talking, she says at times, but you hit the nail on the head, by the way, when you were talking. She goes, at times I feel like my heart is going to pound out of my chest. When I first started opening up to spirit, I experienced that a lot. Stacy, I actually thought a couple times that I was going to have a heart attack, which to medical people, that's an anxiety attack is what's happening in those moments. And so what I had to do is I had to sit and I had to do my cleansing breaths. And in that moment, I actually would envision my heart. I would go into my heart and envision it and kind of slow it down. And I would repeat the words that Mandee had said. I am safe. I am at peace. I am okay. Like I am safe. I am at peace. I am okay. Because one of my biggest triggers in my life and one of my biggest PTSD things is not having safety and security. And that started early. Okay. And that's been a running gag over and over and over and over and over again in my life. And so it's finding ways to understand in those moments that we are safe. And the more you breathe and the more you take it down, the more you can actually change your pulse. And I learned how to do that a long time ago. That was like in 2012 that I learned how to get into myself and physically slow my pulse just by reminding myself that in that moment I was safe and secure, because that's where my anxiety arises from the most. When I'm feeling triggered in the ways of safety not being or security being in my home and in my structure, when I feel like I'm being attacked from things that I can't really prevent or control, that's when I start to have more of my anxiety attacks. And that's when things start to get to me. And I have to actually physically slow down my heart rate because it feels like I'm going to have a heart attack. There's actual physical pain associated with it. So it does get pretty intense.
Yeah. And I just saw a comment from Stacy. She said that, I wonder at times if I should go to the hospital because she feels that way. And so at any point too, just if there's something physically going on, always go get checked out. Yes. And then a lot of times what happens is we go and get checked out and then we don't have the answers. And then all of these other tools can support us. So if at any point you ever feel that way, or, you just feel like you need just that mental like stability, hold some soul space, call a friend, journal, write it out and take a look at yourself and you will always find the answer. And
so I did see a cardiologist.
Me too. Huh?
Because I did see a cardiologist. I did, because that was one of those things. I wanted to make sure that things were okay. And he I had to wear a Holter monitor for a month while I was channeling. Shit. And every single time I channel, my heart rate would go up to about 200 beats per minute. And then when I'm done channeling, it goes right back down and I'm fine and everything's good. And so I learned in those moments what was really taking place was I was surrounded by things. And I was surrounded. I feel like even when those PTSD triggers and those anxieties come up to the surface, we're still surrounded. And so in those moments, essentially what I did was I was like, okay, I'm fine, because nothing showed up at the cardiologist. He essentially just told me to quit my job because if it was making me sick and it was going to cause me to have a heart attack, it was the wrong job for me. And I'm like, bro, that's not how God works. Called to this for a reason. I'm probably not going to have a heart attack if you're telling me my heart looks fine. So I did have to get checked out. And I've been to a cardiologist now 2 different times to get the same thing. So yes, I would have it looked at to make sure you know physically nothing is wrong with you, and then go from there on some of the things that you can do. And in the meantime, try to practice those.
I have a good cardiologist story. Same thing.
I feel like all spiritual people do.
Yeah, like it was wrong and I'm overweight and all the things. So, I went and had the sleep study done, didn't have sleep apnea, had my heart checked out, and I had to like walk through some triggers because I typically get triggered if I have to work with like male doctors or nurses. I've always like preferred female since I was younger and then after things. And I ended up having this appointment, and my cardiologist was female, but then I had to go to a tech to do the actual, like, what is it, EKG or whatever it is. And basically like big ultrasound all over like your heart and stuff. And it was like this like middle-aged Indian man. And he was really nice. Like as soon as he's like, oh, hello, he's like, come, I'll make you really comfortable. Like, come on back. And I was like, okay, you can do this, Mandee, because you have to go topless. And like, I was like, all right, Mandee, like this is a professional thing. Walk through your fucking triggers. Like, you got this. Like, take a breath. Like, this is happening for a reason. And I was so grateful I did, because he ended up being so nice, and he's doing my thing. And he goes, I do this all, and he has his accent, and I'm going to, be terrible about it. He's an Indian man, but it makes the whole thing. And he's like telling me he's doing things like, I look at hearts all day and you have such a beautiful heart. And then he says it in his accent. He's like, you have a beautiful heart. You have a beautiful heart. And every single day I look in the mirror and tell myself, like in an Indian accent, that I have a beautiful heart. And it has worked so well. And I like literally, like, I released my blood pressure medication after that appointment. I did start doing celery juice too, which helped a lot with my blood pressure and my anxiety. But it was like that affirmation and that man like gave me my light back and reminded me, like, I do have a beautiful heart, and it's pumping and it's growing. And so sometimes, we get like really cool things and really special messages in the least expected places.
I do love that. I absolutely love that. That's also, like Spirit says, you never know the difference between life and death. You holding the door for somebody can literally mean the difference between life and death for them, because you don't know what they experienced before you held that door. And in that moment, he essentially started you on a path of saving your life in a different way. And I think that's beautiful that you still hear his spirit talk to you every time you look at yourself in the mirror. That's so amazing. And
I wasn't expecting it that day.
The connection. I love it. It makes my heart happy listening to that. It makes me so happy. What a good experience.
I have such a beautiful heart.
And she does. Everybody knows that who watches.
But if you had the anxiety, take you to the emergency room. We've been there. Cheers.
Yes. I was like, yep, no, all of us. So
let's catch up on some comments and stuff.
Yes. Did you pull cards for Stacy?
Stacy, I do want to pull you one card. Angels, Stacy. Stacy got 3 cards. The first one is to answer the call. What is your soul calling you to do? A big part of your anxiety right now actually has to do with a lot of your creativity and the energy that you have within you. It's wanting to flow. It's wanting to be seen and heard. If you don't already, maybe start some journaling. Just like write down, just sit down, light a candle, and just say, like, angels, what do I need to know? And you might start writing a letter to yourself. You might channel a message. You might have a memory. You might make up a wild story. Just get really clear on what it is. They're just showing there's a lot of peace wanting to come your way. I'm actually seeing some energy, like your body moving. I don't know if you're someone who's wanted to get into yoga or dance or something like that, but they're just showing you like moving your body and it helping you to like ground in more. Then you get Anna, grandmother of Jesus, seeding the light, laying foundations, the divine plan. They're just confirming that all the healthy decisions that you've made for yourself recently, though they've been hard and though you've questioned them and they've been hard to stick to, they've actually really been serving you. And you really are creating a new foundation in yourself. And guys, this is for Stacy, this is for everybody. When we make big changes and we decide to start new things in our life, it is uncomfortable and it is hard. And even if we have been through the worst thing in the world, like our bodies and our minds and our hearts are trained to all that stress. We're not used to switching from surviving to thriving. And they're showing that you're really creating these foundations in order to switch from surviving to thriving. And it's not always fun or easy, but it's worth it. And then last but not least, this really confirms what Crystal was saying too. Get grounded. Empaths, highly sensitives, connect with nature. You're absolutely gifted. You're absolutely sensitive. And it's really important to make sure you're taking that soul time for you each day. That's going to be your number one medicine against all this anxiety, and number one to answering all of your gifts and all the different things that are coming in for you. So I hope that helps a little bit. And they just want you to know that you're very held, and always ask the angels to surround you in white and blue light and protect you, because they will.
I love it when she pulls cards. So going back up in our comments, I see Callie Piper. She says, "Hi guys, so glad that you are doing this." Thank you, Callie. Monica Garcia, "I wish I could get my parents to be more holistic and not take so many pills. I think my mom has gifts, but she's been labeled as crazy." That's really sad. That makes me sad.
That's a hard one. We should talk
That
about
is
that.
hard. I mean, like, I feel like a lot of people are labeled as crazy. It's no different than like women. And here's where I'm going to get all feministy on people. Women have more hormonal issues than men do. It's just life. But also women have a lot more stuff that they do in and out of their day and in and out of their life. I'm not saying that men don't hold things down, but women, every time we start to like voice our opinion, I've been labeled as crazy I don't know how many freaking times from people who were just kind of assholes and manipulative. And I decided to just stop allowing myself to be manipulative and then are manipulated. And I was like, look, bro, this is life and this is how it's going to be. And if you don't like it, and then all of a sudden I'm the problem. Now I'm nuts. And now I've got bipolar and I need medication because I'm telling you you're being stupid. And so I feel like a lot of people are told that they're crazy. I was convinced I was insane. I really was. I actually thought on my beginning of this journey, I thought that I was either paranoid schizophrenia or I thought that I was possessed. That is how completely taken down the road that I was by other people and their thoughts, feelings, and comments towards me. I had been convinced from an early age that I was nuts. So it's just, you know yourself and you know what you're seeing and feeling. But it also goes back to, I do believe that there's a crossover. And I have seen a lot of very spiritual people. If you know my story, I've talked about this very, very much. Just because you're spiritual and you're an empath and you have gifts does not mean that you can't be a narcissist, you can't be a sociopath, and you can't have other things too. Those are chameleon type things. We generally pick up on what other people teach us. And if we're in crazy dramatic situations growing up where we have like more toxic narcissistic things that we're influenced by, we're going to absorb those things and we're going to mimic them because we think that's what's supposed to be done in our life. And so you could be the crazy one, even though I don't agree with that word. It's a stupid word that should be taken out of the dictionary in my eyes.
That because like if you were raised by like narcissistic people, like you're gonna have narcissistic tendencies, and Crystal's really
gonna have them.
Bringing that out. I'm like, cheers.
Like,
I'm just sorry.
I still have to work on those things. Like I still work on those things. Like with Ben and I, there are times where my ego gets the best of me and I have to be like, look, Crystal, this isn't Ben's problem. This is your problem. And so you can't keep projecting your problems onto him and trying to make it be like, you're this goddess, this know-it-all being. I don't know everything. And I need to take a sidestep to life sometimes and just step off because it's not about me. Yeah. That's what I learned first in this journey. This isn't about me. Yes, the things that I'm here for and the things that I want to create, you know what? Those things I need to be selfish for my peace. I need to be selfish for my safety, my security. I need to be selfish for those things. But what I'm creating here has zero to do with me. It has to do with every person that I talk to, every person that I come into contact with, every single interaction that I have on this planet. It's about you guys. It's not about me. And so if you have a narcissistic approach to life, you're never going to be able to get past it being about everybody else and little to do with you. And so that was probably one of the biggest steps that they gave to me going forward because I didn't understand. I was like, but I had a mentality that said, I've been screwed over, I've been taken advantage of, and blah, blah, blah. Well, all of that probably was true. But at the same time, them doing what they did had zero to do with how I was treating other people. I had to be accountable for that. My words, my actions, my energy, that's mine. It has nothing to do with the other people's. attitudes, narcissism, sociopath, manipulation. That's on me. And
Yeah.
so we have to get past that to understand that if you want to live this life right, it's really about everybody on the planet, because we're all one. We're all together. Mandee's my mirror. Somewhere in me, I've got that goddess brewing inside of me. I haven't found her yet. That's why I love Mandee. But somewhere in me, I have that beautiful mother, that nature, that thing that she provides. And I love that about her, because she mirrors back at me a part that I'm searching for. And it's beautiful for me to experience that. And then some people who mirror these uglinesses back at me, it's because I still have growth to do in my own life. And it's because I'm not perfect either. And
None
it's
of
because
us are.
I need to be a little bit better myself. And so I'm not afraid to apologize. I'm not afraid to talk about it. And I'm not afraid to say I screw up because of that reason. We all do. We're human. That's what we're here for. So
yeah, it was beautiful. I back you up on all that.
Meditation, Carrie, sorry. Meditation is different for people. It is. I don't do meditation like everybody else. I do it differently. And you just have to find what works for you. Sometimes it'll be 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. I know people who meditate for hours. I couldn't, because my brain won't shut up long enough for me to do that. Can you see the comments, Mandee?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Do you want to read some of them? Also,
sure.
I'm up at Natasha right now, where it says, yes, my anxiety completely dissolved when I started doing 5 senses walks. That's wonderful.
That's really cool. That's like walking meditations are some of the best ways, I think, to, oh, I see where we're at now.
Okay.
I think that's one of the best ways to meditate. Meditating, I found I did it naturally, just like as a kid and a teenager, pulling in my driveway and turning off the car and just sitting there and thinking. Like, or just like sometimes listening to music or taking a break or staring, watching the birds fly by. Like, it's when you're in a really relaxed place where you're present and you're not allowing a ton of thoughts to come in and distract you. The thoughts will come in, and it's important to say, hello, thought, I see you. And like, as soon as like, what's for dinner tonight comes in, okay, bye. I don't need to worry about that right now. And that's where those affirmations come in. I'm at peace. I'm present, and breathing and guided meditations. I just did guided meditations my whole first year because I couldn't get out of my head. So I needed somebody else to tell me what to do. So there's so many different options out there, but it really does make a difference. Dr. Joe Dispenza taught me that like meditation it means to like go within and to know thyself. And so that's the whole point of it, is just to slow down and get to know our beautiful hearts and souls and connect to our higher selves.
Yeah. So there's like a new book. I said there was a new book.
Ooh.
It's called Angel Numbers. It's the Angel Numbers book is what it is. And it's by the mystic Michaela. She is super cute, by the way. If you guys know who she is, look her up. She's funny and she's cute and she knows her crap. But you just said something that triggered me. And then I was like, oh, okay. Because I just read this like right before coming onto this. And it's got like all these beautiful angel numbers. Okay. So, oh, no, that one wasn't it. Anyway, there was a number that I had and I looked it up and I was like, oh my gosh, because it was like, Crystal, you got to meditate. It was like, you need to meditate and you need to focus on you essentially being God, like you're the light. And so you have to meditate on that space and raise that light inside of you to start bringing forth the manifestations that you're working on, and believe that you are the creator of what that looks like. I read that right before we got on. And so this is a really cool book. She gives so many amazing things. I don't know if you guys can see this. Like every number is broke down and it's like, Mandee, what is one of the numbers that you see?
31.
Awesome sauce. I will find 31 because
31 is my number.
Okay, 31, work. Your life needs your action. In order to get your life in motion, you need to take action. Your angels are reminding you that your dreams and goals are worthy, and to achieve them, you have to put in some work. List a goal you have and 3 actions you can take today to support that. Get at least one thing checked off your list before the day is done. I love her book.
I think that's too cool because like that's what I do. I write action plans for people all day in order to help them, become the best versions of themselves. Like, of course, that's my favorite number. And of course, that's like my life path. And like, that's what it would say. That's hilarious.
So, I was like, I got it. And I ordered it yesterday because of Natasha, by the way, Natasha Clavon, the one that's always on here, loving us, giving us love. I love her.
Yes.
And so I had this crazy weird dream. it's like a reoccurring dream that I've had forever. And I kept seeing there was one room that was like 110, and I put my hand up on this nameplate and it said 110. And I looked at Ben and I was like, there's a significance. I know what the significance is. I won't go into the reoccurring dream. It's very long. But at the same time, she posted that and I was like, maybe that was a double significance that I need to look into myself a little bit more, because in the dream it meant something different, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not also what it means in a different way when it comes to this book. Because it was like, you can't compare yourself to other people and you can't compare their journeys to yours. And I can also kind of see, after sitting with that, how that's something that I kind of do, because I know where I want to be and what I want to create. And sometimes it is frustrating because the energy that people see in spirit stuff out there does not match what actual spirit is. And I'm trying to reinvent the way people see spirit and understand spirit. They're not negative, they're not demonic, and that does not exist like that. But that's all you see, and it's so frustrating sometimes. So I feel like that might be more what that was in representation to, because if I'm sitting in a place of frustration for what's not out there, I can't create what needs to be.
Boom.
So there we go. See, sometimes.
All happen.
So see, Natasha, you got to give me a minute. It'll come.
It is there. Oh, this has been such a beautiful night so far. Tracy,
I know we have so many comments. You guys are amazing.
I know. Tracy's excited for a reading with you coming up. If you haven't had a reading with Crystal, it's incredible, and I highly encourage you to. How can people get a hold of you or find you if they want to book?
Mitten Medium, www.midmittenmedium.com.
Awesome. Glenda said that breathwork and tapping really helps her with affirmations. Me too. I do a lot of tapping. I'm going to have a whole new series coming out on our website, See Goddess Healing Arts, and we have a YouTube channel, and I'm going to be creating a lot of tapping videos, but it's incredible. If you haven't checked it out, I really encourage you to check out Emotional Freedom Technique tapping. What happens is same thing. You're touching acupuncture points within your body, and then you're rewriting things. So we could do some readings, or we could even end this episode on a little mini tapping exercise too. We haven't done that in a while. Jennifer says we have to listen to our bodies, and they speak to us through our hair and our skin and our nails, and it gives us signs like anxiety, hair loss, and brittle nails. I 100% agree with you. My body is always speaking to me, and I'm a firm believer that we create the disease within our body because of our thoughts. Of course, there can be environmental factors. Of course, we can have injuries and accidents and things can happen, but we rebuild it with our thoughts. And it's just amazing what we can do once we're taught that. Where else are we at? Do you want to read a couple, Crystal?
I'm going up.
Abby, I see Abby says, same with processed foods and drinks. They have placed chemicals in our food and they make us crave nicotine. Yeah. And I need to make time to make better decisions for myself and my family. That's just it. It's work. It's the work. It's pairing it with those action steps and saying, okay, you know what? I always have a choice. Like, yeah, I'm addicted. Yeah, I really want this sugar, this nicotine, or this alcohol, or whatever it is. And I can choose that right now, or I can choose this. Sometimes I have to practice a little impulse control and say, you know what? Like a lot of times I do it when I'm out. I don't like to get fast food a lot, or I really like to make my own food a lot now. And like a lot of times I'll be like, okay, it's convenient for me to eat right now, but if I wait another hour, I can make myself something really nourishing. And like having the time and the energy and like the drive to do that and make that choice. Because if we get really down, like and real with ourselves, there's time we can always, every single one of us can find 10 minutes in a day. We really can. And I'm a stickler on that.
So Cece says, I'm amazing. Thank you, Cece. I feel like your guides and loved ones are amazing. I'm just the translator, but thank you very much. I feel like I'm great at translating. Sometimes I feel like, have you ever seen like the Eminem translator? She like really gets into it and she's like up on stage. She's like jamming. That's how I feel like I get sometimes, because your people are spicy and I love them. Then Natasha says, I love that book. I know you do, because you're the one that told me about it. And I am so grateful for it, because I haven't put it down all day today. I'm like, oh, I've got this number. Oh, I've got this number. Oh, I've got this number. And then I was like, poof, I got it. And I love her. The way she put it very clearly, it's very good. If you have a lot of angel numbers, I would kind of look into it. It's called the Angel Numbers book by Mystic Michaela. Yes. Jennifer says guilty. Jennifer also says learning to ask if people are able to listen. Yes, Jennifer, they may not have that energy. And I have had to train myself to asking somebody, are you okay hearing me right now? Because I've got some stuff. And if they're not, then it's okay. And then sometimes I go bleh, and then I'm like, shoot. And then I apologize immensely and then do my own energy work on them and tell them I won't do it again because I'm still learning to be the best version of myself. And sometimes I do that, and I need to fix that also. Glenda, I find myself trying to shift the energy at work like a second job. I could just see you, Glenda, like sitting there, like all, Dr. Strange up in your building, trying to move things around. Jennifer says, I'm learning to ask people if they have the energy to listen, vent, etc. Sophia, I've been randomly called to surround myself with violet flame. Ooh, that sounds beautiful and intense. I picture it transmutive, negative to positive. I do that with the angel bubble of blue light that I surround myself with. It's like a neon blue that I see it.
Hey, all the colors work. All the angels are there and happy to help. Whatever connects and works with you, it's going to work. Just call it in. They're there to help us.
Then I already read Stacy's. You said that you feel it and you should go to the hospital. We've already addressed that. If you feel like you should, then you probably should because something's calling you to feel that way. Thank you, Tracy, very, 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 very much. We both appreciate all of you for connecting with us, even through here. Even if you haven't had an actual reading with us yet, the fact that you're here means that you're wanting to connect in a different way. And that says a lot about who you are as a human being. So thank you for giving us the energy that you do. Trisha, this last month, I have felt very distracted, not sure if it's a form of anxiety, but lack of sleep has been huge. I think that's been a lot of transitioning over the past month. Mandee, you missed it a couple weeks ago, maybe. We had Ursula here, and she was talking a little bit about like energy and universal stuff, planetary stuff going on, and how that kind of affects us. And I also have a lack of sleep over the past month and a half. When there's a lot of transformations taking place on a planetary level, retrograde, stuff like that, I am very light to sleep. So that might be something that you're sensitive to. I know around moon changes specifically, the sleep doesn't happen, but I also understand that I'm just supposed to be resting. My guides told me that a long time ago. They were like, Crystal, if you stop trying to convince yourself you need to sleep and instead look at it and say, thank you for giving me the rest I need, you're not going to have so much anxiety. And so I stopped looking at the clock and I just turned around and I put faith in them that they were going to give me the rest that I needed to be awake and alive and part of the next day the way that I needed to have the energy to provide to my clients. And they have 100% followed through on that. They've been amazing. Glenda says, sometimes feeling like I skip a beat and I'm where the crap did that come from? Once again, all the heart people here. Heart people. Jennifer, anxiety comes in many forms. For some, it feels like an elephant on their chest. Others, it is a lack of eye contact, fidgety hands. No two people are the same. Exactly correct. Sensory overload. Glenda says, yep, I literally have white coat syndrome when you were talking about your doctor and not being able to, kind of fit with the male doctors, and then you had the most beautiful experience.
I let myself walk through the trigger. I asked that, I asked the angels to surround me. Crystal, I have to get going soon. So
okie dokie. She is traveling. She is not at Mandee's place. Mandee is still on the road for the holidays.
Yeah.
So I am going to say we had one person, I don't know if she took her comment off, K-Bert Carter. She says, can you pull a card for me? She was the only one that actually asked for you to pull a card. Do you feel
Yes. Child of the cosmos, the intelligence of the universe lies within you for K-Bert. So really important to tune in with the themes we were talking about tonight with manifesting. They're showing you literally going outside, especially now in the winter time, if you can, crystal clear nights, go out there, do some star meditating and gazing. And it's time to just do a lot of self-inquiry and continue to remember that you are a master manifester. Actually, they're showing your thoughts really can co-create what it is you're concentrating on, and to be really aware of that and know that you are a divine and innocent child, and it is important to forgive yourself and to move on in every moment and to live through joy as much as possible. So hopefully that helps.
Mandee, I'm sorry. Can you tell us the name of that deck?
This is the Starseed deck from Rebecca Campbell.
Okay. I'm writing that down. I don't ever feel like pulled to get cards, but that is beautiful. Is it actually like 3D?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Rebecca
Lord.
Campbell works with an artist named Danielle Noel. Here we go. I'm putting it back together. Who's an incredible multimedia artist and puts different things together. And they did the Work Your Light Oracle deck, and then they did this one as well. And it's just absolutely incredible.
I love that. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm like, I was pulled into like the stars, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Caber. I wasn't listening because I was so pulled into the image that was like being shown to us. Mandee has got to go, so we're going to give her lots of love and ask Mandee how you can how can we get a hold of you? How can people get a reading or a healing or a connect?
Thank you all so much for tuning in and spending the past hour with us. It's always such an honor to co-create. And just remember, be gentle with yourself this new year and do things that feel manageable for you. Absolutely honor the things dying off, and then really honor the things that you're wanting to call in, but start small and do something manageable to feel like you're really calling in the change you want to make. You can get a hold of me on SeaGoddessHealingArts.com. We also have a YouTube channel and a Facebook and an Instagram, and it would be such an honor to hold soul space and connect. I do readings and coaching and teach classes there, and I would love to. So thanks you all for spending time and your hearts and your energy with us tonight. Crystal, how do they get a hold of you for one more time?
Or you can go to www.midmittenmedium.com if you would like a reading. If you just want to tune in and catch up, I'm on Spirit Speaks with my YouTube channel. Mandee also has a YouTube channel with Sea Goddess Healing Arts that you guys can check out. Please subscribe to both of us. It helps us out immensely, sharing that energy. And that's all I'm going to say. You guys have a beautiful week. I hope you all have a beautiful new year, and I hope that some of that anxiety starts to cease a little bit in your life so you can remain and get the clarity that you need going forward with whatever it is that you need. So that's what I hope for you guys, and I hope you all have a beautiful night. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.